Are you thinking of moving to Hollywood? Wait, not that Hollywood. Hollywood, Maryland in St. Mary's County. Well, if you are, make sure you watch this video because I got some information for you that I know you're going to want to know. All right, what's up everybody? I'm Rob Schou here with EXP Realty in Southern Maryland. If you're looking to move to Southern Maryland, make sure you reach out to me. I want to help you out. Give me a call, shoot me a text. And you know what? Scroll down to the first comment, click on the link and schedule a meeting with me so we can talk about your move to Southern Maryland. Today, we're going to be talking about Hollywood, Maryland, and kind of the neighborhoods around it and something that I think is really unique about it and why it's one of my personal favorite areas in St. Mary's County and honestly all of Southern Maryland. But before I even get started, before I get ahead of myself, if this is your first time on the channel or you haven't yet, make sure you click the subscribe button, click the bell so you're notified every single time we put out new content. We're going to be doing all types of things like vlogs and just different cool videos about living in Southern Maryland. So make sure you click that subscribe button, click the bell, and you'll be notified every single time we put out these new videos. Right now, twice a week, or at least once a week about Southern Maryland. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Enough of that. I want to talk to you about Hollywood. Like I said earlier in the video, there's something I really love about Hollywood, and I'm going to get to that, but let me go ahead and just give you the overview of Hollywood. Now, Hollywood is a town. It's an unincorporated town, and it's kind of on the outskirts of one of the bigger towns in St. Mary's County, California, Maryland. California, Maryland is where all the shopping is. It's really close to Patuxent River Naval Air Station, and Hollywood's that next town north of it. Now, there's really no town center to Hollywood. I guess the middle by, there's like a Tractor Supply and stuff like that, kind of would be considered that, you know, center of Hollywood or that start of Hollywood. But for the most part, Hollywood's pretty unincorporated. There are neighborhoods in Hollywood, and we're going to talk about that. But I think the biggest draw to Hollywood is it's that first town north of, you know, central St. Mary's County that gives you that rural feel. So you move to St. Mary's County not to feel like, you know, you're in the middle of humanity. You move to have a little bit more space. You move to kind of be spread out a little bit and enjoy nature and enjoy, you know, the outside. And Hollywood's that next, you know, step away from California, that next step away from the Lowe's and the Target and the Walmarts. All right, so let's go over a few of the top neighborhoods. Now, these top neighborhoods were gathered from last year's home sales. They're not my top neighborhoods, and I did say I'm going to talk to you about something that is kind of the reason why I really like Hollywood, and I'll get to that, but I want to talk about these top neighborhoods first, and then I'll go ahead and get to that. So number one, the first one, not in any order, but the first one that came to mind when I was looking stuff up, and the one that's really desirable because of how quickly homes go when they do come on the market, is Broad Creek. So Broad Creek is right off of 235 when you're coming, you know, on the right-hand side when you're coming south towards base, which makes it really nice because you're, you know, right off that main area. It's a short commute to everywhere and you can get right out on the main road. The average home is a 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom. It's built around 2013, the average home was, and 2,954 square feet above ground square footage is the average size of the house. That's a huge house. And most of these houses also have finished basements. So if you're looking for that, you know, suburban house with the, you know, the big basement, the big upstairs, big open concept, Broad Creek's definitely it. And the average sales price, and it's definitely creeped up a little bit in 2022, the average sale price in 2021 was $492,188. As of now, which it's April, almost April, we're seeing them go for that $520,000 range. So they're definitely creeping up in price, but it's just because it's a cool little neighborhood, you know, with big houses, and it's in an area that goes to Captain Walter Francis Duke Elementary School, and then Leonardtown Middle School and Leonardtown High School, which are all highly rated on niche.com as schools in St. Mary's County. So it's got a lot of stuff going for it, and so a lot of people like moving there. All right, another neighborhood that's close there is Forest Farms. So Forest Farms, again, it's a little bit older. Most homes were built around that 2006 time frame, but they're actually bigger than Broad Creek. So the average square footage of a home in Forest Farms was over 3,000 square feet for above ground square footage. Now you add in the basement too for a lot of these places, and you're looking at close to 3,500 to 4,000 square feet. I mean, you could literally, like, I don't know, have a basketball court in there. I feel like it's so big. Probably not. I don't think there's any ones at basketball court, but it feels really big. And so with that, we're looking at 5 bedrooms and we're looking at 4 baths in most of them, and that price definitely goes up. So a house in Forest Farm, the average one went for $554,000 last year, and just like I said, for Broad Creek, it's going up a little bit. Not as much. I'm seeing them, in that 550 to 570 range right now, but still, it's a little bit pricey. So I'm getting to the thing I was talking about before. I love Hollywood because it's waterfront. I love the waterfront that's there. I love the Patuxent River. I live on the Potomac right now, and I like it because it is a lot calmer, boat traffic wise, and you can get out on the weekends and really not see many other boats. But with that, there's not a lot of places to go eat on the Potomac, but on the Patuxent, that's totally different. So the waterfront you have when you're in Hollywood, Maryland, you have Cuckold Creek, which is a nice protected creek with deep, deep water, which is unique for Southern Maryland and for St. Mary's County in particular. So you can find some houses on Cuckold Creek when you live in Hollywood, but also right along the Patuxent River. So there is a ton of opportunity to own a house in Hollywood on the water, and I just think that's awesome. I love the water. I go boating, tubing, fishing, crabbing, paddleboarding, kayaking, and that's my life. Like, I love doing that kind of stuff. So I get totally jazzed when people are looking at waterfront because, man, I just love that lifestyle and I love people having that. And Hollywood is one of those areas where I know I can find good homes for people, that are decent size, that are in great water. So if you love waterfront, if you want waterfront, or you want just even water access, because there's different places you can launch your boat in Hollywood too, then Hollywood can be a great choice because it really is, I think, one of the best places to kind of live near the water in St. Mary's County. Now, it does come at a price. The waterfront in Hollywood, of course, is going to be a little bit more expensive because it's closer to town, because it's closer to base, because it's closer to all those things. Everyone wants to be near, so that price does go up. But it may be worth it. It's a really neat area. All right, so that kind of brings me to the next neighborhood. There's one called Hollywood Shores. Now, in Hollywood Shores, there's a bunch of affordable houses kind of right when you come into Hollywood Shores, and they're smaller. The average house size is 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and it's only about 1,500 square feet. And the average price in Hollywood Shores was $357,000 last year. So it's an older neighborhood, but you can find a smaller house, maybe a starter house that's really close to the water. So if being close to the water is really important to you, that may be where you start. And also, right in Hollywood Shores too, there's a handful of houses that are right on the actual Patuxent River as well. So if you want to be in Hollywood Shores and you want to live waterfront, you can find that as well too. The last neighborhood we're going to talk about today, based on sales in Hollywood, is the Estates at Joy Chapel. Now, the Estates at Joy Chapel is off of 235 as well. It's right on if you're going south towards base again, it's actually on the opposite side of Broad Creek, so it's on the left-hand side. It's the average size home was 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, about 2,684 square feet. It's a smaller community with smaller homes. And the price actually reflects that as well. So you're looking at $479, $480 around there, and those prices are staying pretty solid. There's a few that went up earlier this year for around that price range, so I'm not seeing as big of an increase in prices in the Estates at Joy Chapel, but it's a really neat little neighborhood, and it's close to actually the Hollywood Elementary School, which is nice. I don't think it's close to walking distance, but walking on that road might not be something you want to do, just because I don't think it has a big enough shoulder really to walk, but it's a convenient commute to Pax River, and it's close to all the shopping, and it's a good price point too for a lot of people. All right, so hopefully this helped you if you're looking to move to Hollywood. Like I said, I just want to reiterate, it's one of those great places. There's a good mix of neighborhoods. It's a good area to kind of sprawl out and spread out. You got a little more space, and honestly, it's one of my top areas for waterfront just because of the waterfront itself. Just take away the houses, take away the housing types and the prices. The waterfront right there, some of the best fishing, some of the best crabbing, a lot of good restaurants right around it. You do have to fight with more people that are out on the water. Weekend on the Patuxent, it can get a little crazy out there. Even on a calm day, there's waves because there's so many boats sometimes. But man, like being able to go to, Clark's Landing over to Solomon's and have dinner by boat and do all that kind of stuff, maybe even, go to the mouth of the river and, fish for rockfish or go over to the Eastern Shore and fish over in the islands over there. Like, it is just one of those really neat areas and kind of centrally located, not just for you to be at work or at a shop, but also on the water too. All right, so I'm done talking about that. I could talk about the water, all day. So if you have any questions or need any help, make sure you use the contact information below to reach out to me. Use my email, use my text me, email me, call me, however you want to do it. And also, if you scroll down, like I said before, look at the first comment, click on that link, schedule a meeting with me, and we can have a Zoom meeting about your needs when you're moving to St. Mary's County or Southern Maryland. All right, and lastly, if you haven't yet, make sure you click my subscribe button right there. Click the little bell so you're notified every time we put out new content, and I hope to see you on the next video.